you thought you might want to engage in. When did you start to realize that you needed the best employees, like you need someone for marketing, or you need someone who does your well, in the end you switched to being a shareholder and basically giving the whole management away to somebody else. So when did you sort of begin to...
I think a business is a bit like a child. So as it's growing, it'll go through different stages, and then you've got to adapt and change to how that grows. So each case is very different, but businesses go through a different phase. So the guy that I've got now running Swelloway for me is the ex-CEO of Johnson & Johnson. He run a $3 billion a year company there in rehabilitation products. He's a better person to take it on to that next level than I am, in my opinion. I could be an entrepreneur and say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to smash this and all that sort of stuff. But actually in business, there are people, if you attract the right people, that have got a different skill to you, who can take it on to the next stage. Never be frightened of working with people. The thing is, collaboration. I come from the internet generation, so I understand about collaboration. If you work with people that can add value, so even friends in this room, if they add value, they've got different skills that you don't have, you should be surrounding yourself around those types of people. And you never know how these journeys start. They start now, you'll build a relationship. You go on my LinkedIn, everybody says how wonderful I am, I'm a great person, and, I'm lovely to know. But at the end of the day, I don't do it because I want to get something back. I do it because working with others that excite me. The reason I'm talking to you guys is I get off and enjoy helping and sharing. And if you work with good people, it's a pleasure. Like Martin Ware, for instance, I went and talked to him about sleep cognition. This guy knows everything about 3D sound and soundscapes and how it affects our skin and how sound waves, are absorbed into our body. And I'm just sat there for an hour drooling at the information because I'm a real techie and I like information. So when you work with people like that, they inspire you. I don't think you should ever be precious about an idea. I think working with other people makes it really happen, it makes it reality. And when you've got a few more people involved, safety in numbers as well. But as the boss and as the leader, I've got to say, and you can imagine I'm quite strong-willed, I'm always the captain on the football pitch or the rugby pitch, wherever it might be. I lead by example, so I wouldn't do anything that I wasn't prepared to do or have a general understanding of first. So know your subject matter, know your areas, know a little bit of everything, but then rely on the people that you pull in to help you. So I'll answer your question a bit?
Yep.
Just you in front of him?
Yeah, I was just wondering, why did you choose Hathersage in your education?
Yeah. I lived around the corner for a start. Yeah, I think being an entrepreneur is about being an opportunist. So it's about timing, it's about spotting something before it happens. And I think that's what I've always done, is I've spotted markets before they happen. So, some can be too early. That's always another problem. You can be too early to market and you try educating the world about your product or your service and it's just too early for them. The Walnut Club in Hathersage, it was a vision of mine, it was grandeur, thinking, I'd love to be out here, a nice restaurant I can go to around the corner. And it fitted into the ethos of organic food and beautiful location. You had a mixture of city folk like Sheffielders, and you had a mixture of people that were enjoying the Peak District, travellers, holiday makers, things like that. So, and for 4 or 5 glorious years, it was doing really well. But then, as soon as the recession hit, God, it was off a cliff overnight. It went down from something like 25 grand a week revenue to about 10. And trying to adapt in a business when something catastrophic happens like that, it's a nightmare, because you can't suddenly go and say, right, I want to employ 10 chefs on 10 grand a year when the others are on 40 grand. You can't suddenly say, right, we're a brand that's about quality and we're in the Michelin Guide, and then suddenly offer McDonald's. There's things that you've got to be really careful about what you say you are going to be. But me, I don't care. I put my head on the chopping block and say, I think it was quoted in The Independent by saying, Richard Mills nonchalantly said he would be in the Michelin Guide within 3 years. And they laughed at it. But I was in the Michelin Guide within 2 years. So, again, lots of people will always shoot you down and stuff like that. But location, I've worked all over the world. I don't think it's that important. But the problem with the restaurant trade is you're stuck in one spot and you're hoping people come to you. if you've got a service that you can go out to the world and offer, it makes sense, doesn't it, really? Yep.
I was wondering, in terms of your like the innovation process that goes into you developing ideas, is it only you, or do you have like a team of friends or business partners that you do it with, or are you the primary? Like,
yeah, it's a good question. Yeah. Again, this is why it's important to start networking at your age and extending your network. And I've said it to Dermot before and on talks the last time I've been here. I did one for Common Purpose a month ago, which really honed in on that as well. Is I think you guys have got a great opportunity. So, you know, the interesting, it's always the thing, you look at the other side of the table and you think, you know, they're in a good spot. Because if I'd been your age and where you are today, I would be doing things slightly different, perhaps, than some of you. I think you've got a wealth of resources within the university. You've got PhDs and professors in this, from business to science to technology or whatever it is. You've got faculties all over the place with a wealth of experience and knowledge. And if I was in your shoes, I'd be milking it dry, I tell you. I'd be hooking up to different departments, whatever my business of choice is or whatever my profession of choice is. If it's best to have other connections in other different parts that aren't your sector. Because you're going to be the expert in your sector. That's the idea and reason why you're doing your degrees. So go and try and network. So when you see all this crap about science party or something like that, or astronomical or whatever else it might be that you're slightly interested, go along to them and start meeting new and cool different people and start to open your network. LinkedIn's the great way of keeping in touch, because what will happen is you'll say you hooked up at this business meeting that you did within the university. 10 years later, you might need their services. You'll read that they've just won the Nobel Peace Prize for doing whatever they've done. And you just say, hey, we hooked up when we were in university and whatever. But so that's the first bit of advice I'd give you. The second bit was, how do I make decisions? I always come up with the idea, and then what I do, which we all do anyway, we do it about boyfriends or girlfriends, we'll ask what our friends think and all that sort of stuff. I've got a little network within my group of people that I admire and respect and have grown up with over the last X amount of years in business. And if I come up with an idea and I need a bit of advice, I'll go off and say, hey, can we have a coffee? And they don't realise why I'm asking for a coffee until they get there. But I'm usually using them as a sounding board. I'm watching their physical reaction to how I explain something, how I tell them, or asking for advice. So having friends that are quite savvy, and I don't think it matters with age. You know, I don't really think age is a boundary to anybody's. Yeah, you'll have different experiences and different abilities, but actually age should never really count in it. You should be able to network with different people of different age. If you're targeting a market of a certain age, then go and talk to people of that age or of that group. So, does that answer your question a little bit? Next one.
Yeah, I was just wondering, because our teacher said like many entrepreneurs go from like project to project or business to business.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your, or why do you maybe you and other entrepreneurs do that?
I think it's because you're a born opportunist. The grass is always greener on the other side and all of that sort of stuff. So I think the difference is, though, if you focus, what lots of entrepreneurs do wrong is they focus on too many projects and then they get lost in it and they never do anything properly. What I've always done is built a big, robust, fat business plan around every idea. So for Swellaway, I concentrated on that for 5 years. I'd already come up with 1,000 other ideas like Sleep Cogni over that time. But I put them into my business plans. I create a little business plan for each project. And like I said earlier, that just starts to grow and grow. The more information, and then it starts flashing saying, wait on a minute, there's something here. And then you start to develop it. And the difficulty for me for Swellaway was like, thankfully, we raised a shitload of money and we was able to attract one of the best people in the world to come and work for our company, which has allowed me to go on to the next project. So yeah, I think that's the trick, is trying to keep quite focused and do one project at a time. There's nothing to stop you having another project bubbling away and learning information about it. You know, that keeps the grey matter ticking away.
Just one more question, because we've run out of time.
So obviously, like over your time, you've had quite a few business ideas and sort of inventions.
Mm-hmm.
In your opinion, what would you say would be the hard part, actually coming up with the idea, the original idea? or taking it from an idea and making it into an actual business?
Yeah, I think commercialising it is the most difficult bit, because everybody comes up with different ideas, and sometimes a good idea is not necessarily the best idea or invention you've ever seen. You know, I can think of loads of examples where a product's not been brilliant, but it's just gone viral, and it's been, whereas some great technologies and some great answers to health problems and whatever have never taken off because they've not been commercialised properly. So I think it's easy to come up with ideas. Whether them ideas are any good is anybody else's guess, but actually getting them to market, that is not to be underestimated. This platform like Kickstarter or crowdfunding has opened the wave of new ideas and new projects. Some do really well. You know, I watched something, there were some cat ears with lights on Kickstarter. It's got some speakers or something like that, and they've got lights on. They've done something like $4 million in 30 days. And you just think, wait on a minute, we've got a sleep product here that's going to help people, it's proven clinically to help people, yet some bloody cat ears with lights on have sold £4 million. It's like, you know, there is no rhyme or reason to it, and actually getting a product to market is not as simple as you think, and there's you can put a lot of hard work and time and effort into it and it's still not going anywhere. And maybe that's because it's not the right marketplace or the right time. So, you know, that's usually the most difficult thing.
Okay, we'll have to stop it there. Thanks very much, Richard.
Thank you.